When we raise bodhicitta, after refuge, we raise bodhicitta for temporary confusion of beings, and it says we do that by the chochak, the resting, the complete resting. So how does that work? If we're complete resting, how do we, if we're practicing for the benefit of beings, and we think of beings helping them, how does the chochak pursue that thought of benefit?
This, I think, that is, Chogya is, the Chogya is like a true meditation. Chogya is true meditation. Chogya is like Dzogchen meditation. And when we are meditating or when we are actualizing the realization of the true or the Dzogchen meditation, then in the teaching it said, naturally will arise compassion. Compassion and realization and compassion comes, realization of the Dzogchen meditation and compassion comes at the same time. Same time. There's no really difference or delays. As much as you got the realization of the true nature or the emptiness, like true meditation, that much really the compassion is growing. And therefore, then when you have the compassion and emptiness together, that is known as bodhicitta. That is really true bodhicitta. Really true bodhicitta. That is really like, and the absolute emptiness is the absolute true bodhicitta, compassion is a really true bodhicitta, united together, and then that individual is then helping to all the living beings, all the according to what needed or according to the capability or readiness, and helping. So this is really in the teaching said the realization of the emptiness comes together compassion. Compassion, they're together. If somehow there is individual said, I got the realization of emptiness, and they don't have compassion, that realization is in the teaching, says not realization. That is not really realization of the Dzogchen. That is realization of emptiness of the vagueness. Vague. Blank emptiness. So therefore, the realization and emptiness, realization and compassion comes spontaneously together.
So that's the result. But in terms of how we generate practice, we always start practice with the thought of benefiting beings to begin with. And then from that, we generate our practices. So it's kind of like a chicken and the egg problem. But it's a serious one for me, because I find it's so easy to forget why we're practicing, and it's so, the practice is so much more complete if we start with the bodhicitta attitude at the beginning, and in this and in that prayer, in the one that follows the refuge, it said, now we, like all the other practices, now we're going to generate bodhicitta, but instead, of course it's not, we don't generate blankness, but it's hard to convince yourself that, because if you try to drop everything, and then, well, what about all the sentient beings you were going to help? I know that will be the result. And you see that
The fourth is refuge. Refuge in the teaching is always, the refuge is the foundation, and refuge, you take the refuge, and then you develop the bodhicitta. But also in the Mahayana teaching, when you take refuge, because you like to benefit for all living beings, therefore I have to have close connection, someone who knows how to benefit for sentient beings, that which is the Buddha. So take refuge in the Buddha, and then his teachings, and then his Sangha members who uphold that teaching. So Sangha members, so therefore you feel close connection with that. So that is a very practical way to do that. And then you generate the bodhicitta, for that to benefit for all living beings. Really sincerely wish that from heart, even we do short times, then you to actualize the realization. What in the bodhicitta said, compassion, you're looking for, compassion is objecting or projecting to all the sentient beings, and wisdom is projecting to the enlightenment, and the combination of the compassion and wisdom, then we develop the bodhicitta. So that means what? Because of the compassion, you see the situation of the sentient beings, and therefore you feel strong compassions. Now, even though I have the great compassions, but I don't have the capabilities, helping, and I don't have the strength to do benefit to all living beings as my compassion, therefore I have to develop the strength. And strength is then, as the Buddha, they all developed. So therefore, I have to develop the Buddha, or practice all the other practice in order to gain the strength and to facilitate of the compassion to reach out to the sentient beings. So then you really practice. Fundamentally in Mahayana, actually your practicing Dharma is not your practice for yourself. Purpose is that, but you're trying to help it to all the sentient beings. But then when you practice, generally thinking to help it for all the sentient beings, you also fulfill the goal, and just naturally comes. And where the attitude, those are then, you know those are teaching, say like 3 different ways to develop the bodhicitta. Those are like shepherd-like bodhicitta, seller-like bodhicitta, and cane-like bodhicitta. Those are the 3 different ways to develop the bodhicitta. But after all, is benefiting. Primarily, his goal is others are the first, then yourself. That is really the true bodhicitta. The others are first, and you're the second. So then you develop that way. You practice and meditate. Intention is all the time, and that's why start with a good intention and practice, follow the exactly to restabilize the compassion and bodhicitta. Those are the middle, and concluding also with bodhicitta, which is known as aspiration and dedication. It's also bodhicitta too. So that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.